Dr. King was a drum major for justice. He imagined a world of social justice, but he fought for that world. He didn't do it alone, without the tens of thousands of everyday people who saw in his spirit the possibility of a better world. That's our challenge.
I think it's very evident that there are deep divides and disparities within our population. There's been a lot of attention paid to the upper 1%, but even within the 99%, there are certain populations that have been so dispossessed that we need to name that dispossession. Right here in the state of Minnesota, in the city of Minneapolis, the disparities are simply outrageous, with unemployment 22 times that for the African American community, with home ownership being less than 25% for black and brown communities. Something has to be identified and changed in that regard.
Hustle the struggle, don't let the struggle hustle you.
Yes!
Hustle the struggle, don't let the struggle hustle you. Hustle the struggle, don't let the struggle hustle you. Hustle the struggle, don't let the struggle hustle you. To break free, first you gotta know you're in chains, and they said it's only sunshine after the rain, but I can't take
dollar signs stamped to every one of our foreheads.
Yes!
We need to realize that we cannot continue to allow the puppet masters to pull our strings. They are our strings.
Yes!
We need to cut them, damn it.
Woo, come on! Yeah!
We need to cut the strings that have been attached to our parents and our parents' parents since the tide washed up on the banks of the East Coast so many years ago. If it wasn't for the annihilation of one race and the free labor of another, these puppet masters would not be sitting pretty today.
Thank you!
If every slave was paid for their services and every tribe were paid the true worth for their land, America would look very different than it does today.
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now! The day before he was assassinated, he was in Memphis, Tennessee, fighting with some of the poorest, least respected workers in this society, the garbage collectors. At that time, that was known as black men's work. Despised, low-paid, non-compensated black men's work. On the day of the march, these men held up a sign that said, "I am a man. We are human beings. Our rights should be respected."
No justice, no peace, no racist police.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
On the front lines for freedom, because we ain't free yet. As long as my brothers and sisters don't have a place to stay, as long as my brothers and sisters don't have food to eat, as long as my brothers and sisters aren't being treated right, then I can't say that I'm free if they're not free.
We are 99%, and I want to express my solidarity to all the people who paved the way for me to come to here in America and to earn my American dream.
Now, many people will hear the "I Have a Dream" speech today. They'll forget this bigger history, that by the last years of his life, he was naming capitalism, he was naming imperialism, he was naming human injustice and the need for human rights. And those are our struggles today. Perhaps his greatest speech, in addition to the "I Have a Dream" speech, was the speech he delivered in Washington, D.C. He delivered it at the Riverside Baptist Church, and he called America out for its imperialism. It was called "A Time to Break the Silence."
He was not as much of a dreamer as he was a doer, and we wanted to highlight the human rights, the justice-oriented king, the king who said that an edifice that produces beggars needs restructuring. That king is who we want to. The king who made the speech in 1967, a year to the day he died, that talked about the Vietnam War being an immoral war.
People united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
The king, they talk about his dreams. They don't talk about what he was really trying to do on the ground.
Yes!
They co-opt the day so that we don't think about and know about what he was really trying to do.
Yes!
That's what we're standing here for right now.
Yes!
Economic human rights is what he was really trying to do.
Yes!
And he got killed because of it.
Yes!
Some people see king as just a king who stood up for social equality, but there's also a king who stood for social, political, and economic justice. There's the king that we've seen recently, not that long ago, as like an ad man for some corporation. corporations. I remember one day, I think I saw them having King Pitch and Coke. But you know, that, he was not, while he's alive, a pitch man for the corporations, but he was a pitch man, and he stood for the oppressed all over the world.
We are the 99%. We occupy, we represent. We are the 99%.
You think that Martin Luther King would not have stood with Occupy, then you don't know Martin Luther King. If you think that Martin Luther King wouldn't stand with these folks and people in your neighborhood who've had their homes foreclosed upon, then you don't know Martin Luther King. If you don't think he would have stood with the homeless and said out loud that they deserve homes and shelter, then you don't know Martin Luther King.
Yeah. Happy birthday to ya.